Live. So let's see how live we are. I see several people already logged in. Welcome. So let's do a sound check. Hello, Heidi. I know you were there a lot earlier, but I haven't started yet. Can we just do a sound check and just tell me if there are any issues like delay in the video and sound? We are only broadcasting on YouTube right now. So I just want to make sure if there's any like lag. Hello, James and AMG and Heidi. Just want to make sure that there's no, I just want to check if there's an echo on the audio. And is there any echo? Mama Goo. And if the video is lagging or not lagging, everything okay? Everything running? Okay, good. Because I don't want to get into the broadcast and then half an hour later somebody says, it sounds bad. What's slow? The volume? If I increase the volume, it's going to go to overdrive here. Okay, if I have to step away from the mic, I have to move away from the mic if I'm going to increase the volume. No lag on the video. Okay, so that got solved. Okay, so I'm kind of maxed out. I'm turning in the red here, so it's going to crackle. So I guess I can't really go any higher. Okay, all good, all good. Well, welcome people, and we are only on YouTube tonight. We are not multicasting. And as you can see, we're doing the new setup here, and you saw a new video with this new setup, and it's not in black and white. Okay? Last week, it went into black and white for some unknown reason. I couldn't figure it out, and hopefully that got solved. Okay, everything, a little delay, okay? 20 milliseconds. We will track that then. And then, I'll see if I can configure that later on. But I want to make sure there's a pattern on the sound before I play with it. So you're saying there's a 20 millisecond delay, which is not very much, right? So just to do a test here, I'm going to count it out. Say 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'll check that out on the recording. And see, sorry guys, this is kind of a new setup here. I'm just trying to get everything squared away housekeeping wise before I go in here and talk for 3 hours, and then it turns out that the audio was bad or the video was bad, and then somebody gives me thumbs down and I didn't know why. But I understand if the video and audio is not good that you should complain. I don't see any delay. Must be a boost phone. No delay. Okay, so we don't have agreement here on the delay. Okay, so hello, Aurora. Welcome. Okay, so we got, let me see how many people we have so far in here. The ones that are talking. We got 25 people, only a handful of you talking. So say hello, guys. This is a conversation, not a speech. It's a conversation. That's why I do live streams, so I get to know each one of you. And by the way, for the most part, I get to know each one of you if you go to Brax.me. So if you don't know what that is, you go to, actually, to make it easy, just type rob.brax.me on your computer or your phone, and it will link you directly to Brax.me where you can log in. And then it actually starts a automatic conversation with me. So if you want to do that, or just go in there and talk to other people, and we just get started. Brax.me is fairly elaborate, but when you start in, you don't know what to do because it's very basic when you come in because of the privacy part of it. And yes, Entire Meyer says, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Now, why is that important, guys? And hello, Furlotzi. Larry Moore says there's a bit of a delay. Mitchell, Valentino, Twist Mint, Double J, and Mr. 6'9", bunch of numbers, and so on. So go to the Brax Me site and, talk to other people and get a sense of the community, because, a big chunk of my followers and subscribers over the years are on Brax Me. I started out with, Periscope, so a lot of the original people on Brax Me were from Periscope. So that's the only way I've advertised it. I didn't really advertise it any other way, and so yes, if you want to, obviously the new people are all from YouTube. So if you want to talk, you don't have to go leave your comments publicly on YouTube, but we do appreciate the thumbs up and the liking the video and subscribing. And why that is appreciated, guys, is because, to be honest with you, in YouTube, we are dependent on the algorithm. Hello, good morning to you. Good evening. Well, it's nighttime here, 6/9. So here in YouTube land, we are dependent on the algorithm. The algorithm decides if we're going to get shared, on the platform or not. And basically an AI decides that. And if YouTube thinks it can make money from me, then it starts to recommend the video. Otherwise, it doesn't. So how does it know that it should recommend the video? By your actions. If you leave comments, if you hit like or even dislike, any kind of engagement, and the YouTube algorithm says, oh, okay, we're going to share this with other people. So please do that. With 5G coming out, will you have to get a Zod 5G phone? Your old one will not work very well. That's very good, Double J. I don't intend it to work very well. I'm happy for it not to work. I may have a decade where it doesn't have to work, so that's fine. That would be lovely. Thank you, Storm Brothers Media Brothers. Brothers are in there twice. Storm, I just realized that. Your name was Brothers in there twice. So anyway, if you don't know what Brax Me is, Brax Me is an open source. Pay attention to that. Brax Me is an open source messaging platform. So there are not very many of that. True open source, fully open source messaging platforms, and Brax Me is one of them. And it's also a social media platform. It's completely open source, and there are very few that are like that. Signal is open source. I think that's it. Telegram is only partially open source, only the front end. The back end is not. Brax Me is open source all the way to the back end. WhatsApp is not open source. So I can't believe these people will come to me and say, well, we don't want to use your platform because it's not safe. So we're going to go to WhatsApp because, it's made by Zuck, and Zuck says he's going to be safe. So we're going to go there. So, the inconsistency in the message here, I don't know. I don't know. This just sounds weird to me. So, the true safety in communications is in a platform like Brax, and people have said, I don't trust you, so I've told you how it works, and so I've now open sourced it, and everyone can check and see how it works, and you can see there's nothing there to spy on you. So if you're thinking there's any spy code, there is none. So it's a very safe platform, and the encryption is very robust. And you are welcome to come in there. If somebody says their encryption has a flaw, then good. That's why it's open sourced. When it's open source and somebody says, hey, that part is not right. Well, it's open source. Change it. Right? That's the nice thing about open source. You say, you don't like it, you can change it and correct it. If there's something in there that says, well, that's not good, you're spying on us over here. Well, it's open source, we'll take it out. Now, it doesn't spy on you. So the reason I open source it is to show you that there's really nothing to hide, and not making a joke about nothing to hide, but it's it's definitely pretty being upfront. I want to be upfront. WhatsApp owned by FB, I believe. WhatsApp, oh, yes, Larry. WhatsApp, Instagram are owned by Zuck. So Zuckbook is the Zuckbook owns all that. So anyway, before I continue, little commercial, guys. A lot of you have already bought this. This is the Brax Wi-Fi, and what it is a VPN and Tor router. So when you have one of these, you don't have to configure any device to go to the VPN or Tor. You just use this as your Wi-Fi, and it just plugs in and becomes a secondary Wi-Fi to your existing Wi-Fi, and that's it. And it's pretty much plug and play. And then you just log into the Wi-Fi on any device, becomes compatible. There's no limits on the number of devices that can use this. So, and it's shipped with a Raspberry Pi board on the inside. So this is Brax Wi-Fi. You can find it in my store, rob.brax.me. And here's another product. It's Brax Secure Net, which is an alarm system based on radar. And what is nice about this is because it covers an area of about 8 meters in diameter, you can just put it in a central location in your house, and you don't have to put individual alarms in windows and doors because this will handle it. Okay, so this is also available on my store, and it's running right now. You can see there's a little green light on there. So those are the products, and this is another one that just to remind you, I still have a supply of Nexus 5s, and the Nexus 5s are installed currently with Ubuntu Touch, which is a Linux platform. So I can put Ubuntu Touch on these, and if you can you get sent to the Netherlands? Which one? If you want this to have Lineage OS, I can do that too. So it's up to you. You can use Lineage OS without Google Play, and that will give you a fairly safe environment as well. That is more familiar because it's more Android. So if you want that, we can do that as well, and put Lineage OS in these phones. I'm kind of running out of them. I'm kind of running out of these phones, but I got to order more. But as you can see, it's still, I mean, some plastic. It looks pretty good. I mean, it's pretty clean. This is actually mine. This is my production one that I use myself. Can't see from the lighting there, so there. You can see from the lighting. It's they're in pretty good shape. All of them are. The ones I've been buying them. They've been in good shape. So, how much for the phone with Ubuntu sent to Australia? I believe it's $25 to ship to Australia. I just shipped one. It was $25 to ship to Australia. The phone, I sell the phone for $167, and I preload Ubuntu Touch on it. And yes, it's I was successfully able to send it to Australia. And I believe this phone, Brax store, rob.brax.me. rob.brax.me. Or just go to Brax Me and find me. And if you go to my pick, just go to my profile and you'll see the store. So it's my store profile. When you purchase the Wi-Fi, do you need to sign up the annual VPN? If you don't, you can use if you don't sign up to my VPN, you can use Tor for free forever. And if you already have a VPN, you can load your own VPN on it. So you can do that. It's actually although I don't provide support for your own VPN, it does work with any VPN. I've tried it already with Proton VPN, PIA. Those should work fine. So, yeah. Can you send it to the Netherlands? Now, if you're buying the Wi-Fi, you don't need to have this sent to the Netherlands. You can just buy if you're not in the US, you can just buy the Raspberry Pi wherever you are, and I'll just send you the software for $99. Okay? So if you're in a different country, there's no reason to get duties on a Raspberry Pi, because they'll apply duties, something that you can get there. So just get it there. It's a Raspberry Pi 4, and then I'll just ship you the SD card for it, free shipping. It's $99. That's it. All over the world. It doesn't matter where. I'll put it on an envelope, and that's it. You plug it in, and it will work. And then if you want to put Bytes VPN on it, just make sure you subscribe before I ship it so that I can preload a VPN on it. Okay. Spend a day in enterprise level surveillance systems. You are sitting on a gold mine. I've worked with enterprise systems, most of my life. And so I guess I should be familiar with it. Hold on a second here. I'm trying to get the screen right in my face here so that I don't have to look down. If I can read your comments right here, then you can kind of look at my face right there. Okay, let's see. What did I miss here? What phone are you using at the moment? I'm using I'm using a Nexus 5. I'm also using a OnePlus One, which has Lineage OS. And then I have these iPhones and Androids that never leave the house. I don't take this out of the house anymore. These stay at home. I have all of my contacts. Don't upload your contacts to Facebook. Don't upload your contacts to Facebook. Pyramid 7. Is there anything positive that we can come up with on that? Let me know. Anyway, talk to me on Brax.me. How much, what else did I miss here? When you purchase the Wi-Fi, do you need to sign up? I already answered that. And let's see, there's a 2-year lag on the Librem 5. Okay, so I guess everyone, I think I answered. If I missed it, just type it in again. I think I answered most everyone's comments. Anyway, so I open sourced Brax.me, the same platform where I have my store, and I have my everything I talk about: communications, downloads, uploads. I put all my files in there. I put all my photos in there. It's all on Brax.me, and I'm not afraid to put my stuff on there because I'm not afraid that somebody will steal it, because it's a store with a pretty robust security. So that's and like I said, it's open source, so you can see that I'm not afraid to show you what the source code looks like, since there's really nothing mysterious about it. Now, what is very interesting, guys, is how I release the source code, and that requires a little bit of explanation, because that's not so clear. I release a source code with the most open, free method that one can come up with. I opened the source code using GPL v3, version 3. It's the most extreme way of opening up source code, because the reason why is no one can take the source code and ever make it proprietary again, which means no company can take the source code and say, I'll make a business out of the Brax Me source code. You can't. It will always be free. So do you sell any phones that have SD memory card slots? I need more space than the Nexus 5 has. None of them. James, you're gonna have to wait for the Pinephone, and that's not gonna be available, with an operating system, probably till March or late March. So I'm getting the Pinephone, but I already ordered it, and it does not have an operating system. So at the moment, I don't know of any compatible phone that has plug-in SD cards, other than the Librem 5 and the Pinephone that's compatible with Ubuntu Touch. I can check, but I don't think the other ones support, removable SD cards. So Loquitus. Hello, Loquitus. Loquitus. Okay. Loquitus from North Carolina. Hello, Loquitus. Okay. So, Bytes VPN is just a VPN. Yes. Larry Moore, Bytes VPN is just a standard VPN, which you can use by itself. Brax Wi-Fi is hardware that you can use with Bytes VPN or with any VPN. I'd probably want to, if you have a different VPN, I may want to test it first before I send it to you, because I've only tested on a few. Okay, most of them work, but give me your credentials. We'll see if it works. If you have some other VPN, but I prefer, of course, to use Bytes VPN because it's already configured for that. It's pretty much plug and play with Bytes VPN. Okay, do you just want to thank you for bringing such important subject to the fore? Keep it up. Thank you, Mark Campbell. Now, actually, nice to meet you, Cosmic Rose. Actually, hello, hey yo. Now, I actually have some concern and interest about what you're saying, Mark, and I'll discuss it later, because the question was, I released a new video, and the new video says, will the Linux phone succeed? And I actually did a survey on there. I said, why are you interested in a Linux phone? And surprisingly, I'd say 70% of the people said that they're interested in a Linux phone, not because of privacy, but they're interested in it because they're Linux geeks. And several people, not all, but several of those people said that they weren't all that concerned about privacy, which is kind of funny because that's what this channel is all about. So, and I thought that if somebody was going to invest in a Librem 5 phone with zucking switches and, blobs and, removing blobs and all that, if that's not the reason you're buying a Librem 5, then the Librem 5 is going to fail, because then they're serving the wrong market. So it's going to be interesting. We'll talk about that later. Can you run Ubuntu Touch in VM to play with it first? Think you can. Kind of difficult, though. I mean, I don't know what that's going to teach you to use it on a VM. So, if you're going to use a VM, just get a Raspberry Pi and install it on that. But I don't know if that's going to be helpful without actually touching a phone. So anyway, I'm glad that that Ubuntu Touch is usable, and I'm using it, and it's not perfect, but I don't have an alternative right now. Well, I'm more concerned with privacy, and the solutions you're coming up with are invaluable. Well, Mark, you are my target market. I'm surprised that I have a lot of followers that actually follow me but are not interested in privacy. So I am kind of wondering about that. So I am wondering, you're following me but you're not interested in privacy. So meaning you're following me because I talk about Linux. So that just an interesting point. There you go. So I'm a Linux newbie, but I understand security and the need for privacy. The poll actually does not surprise me. So hey, yo, yes, hopefully, do you like the colors? I mean, I'm trying to mix the colors here. If you want to change do you want it to be different? Do you want the highlight to be not blue? Should I experiment with something else? I can turn the neon on the back to a different color. So, privacy leaning geek. Not a geek here. Main interest is privacy. Now I'm a geek, obviously, but privacy is number one for me. You have lots of other technical knowledge. Yes, but I hope you don't come here just for the technical knowledge, because there's a reason I am here on YouTube, and that is my technical knowledge has given me fear. The technical knowledge has informed me of all the issues that nobody ever thinks about. And that is only possible because I actually have the technical knowledge to know it. I'm going to tell you something. That, someone just mentioned tonight. It's obviously a very cliche kind of statement, but it explains a little bit of where I stand here, okay? And the cliche statement is, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Now you're going to say, who cares? Knowledge is power. Who cares? Okay. Well, let me just explain that, why I care about that. Since knowledge is power, I want to make sure those suckers don't get the knowledge so they don't get the power. Okay? Do you get that? Do you get that, guys? Let me repeat that again. Knowledge is power, right? And most of you will agree. Yeah, right. Knowledge is power. So we are going to zucking keep them from getting that knowledge. And they don't get the power. That is privacy, people. That is what privacy is. Privacy is withholding the knowledge. Withholding knowledge so the other parties don't get the power over you. We don't want them to get power over you, and you can do that by making sure that there is no avenue for them to get power. And a lot of you don't even realize, and some of you say, I have nothing to hide, so this is not important. But my goodness, guys, you carry around your zucking iPhone, okay? You carry around your zucking iPhone. This is a beautiful phone that costs so much to repair. I went to the Best Buy and looked at the cases, and they're selling cases for an iPhone for $99. And I'm like saying, suck you. You're selling me a case for this phone. By the way, if you break the back, it's cost $550 to repair. You break the front, it costs $300 to repair. You can buy a used one for $649. So, you know, basically, who would repair this? It's just gotten stupid now. It's really gotten stupid. That is why some of the people want a Linux phone, because they understand that they're being used with these devices. These devices are beginning to manipulate us financially by getting it to be non-repairable and non-replaceable with batteries that you can't change. I understand that, but it goes beyond that now, because the same company says, iPhone is privacy, or privacy is iPhone. Privacy is iPhone. Which one is it? Privacy is iPhone, or iPhone is privacy, whatever it is. And this is not privacy. What I tell you, knowledge is power. This has a lot of knowledge. It knows where I'm going to go. Pinephone was delayed. I'll talk about that later. But this phone is privacy is power, and this one gets the knowledge. Knowledge is power, I mean. This one gets the knowledge, so it gets the power over you. So we want to make sure that you deny them the knowledge. And you got to understand this in a big way, because if you know the kind of stuff that I know about in data collection, you're going to start saying, wow, that is a lot of detail. I'll tell you a little bit of my background. If you go to dog food, I have ads from big data. You would think Apple would make a phone that is unbreakable, but I guess there is more money in maintaining. Yeah, they made it glass so that when it breaks, it's going to be expensive to repair. It's getting stupid. Oh, did you know that that Apple will remove all the ports? So there won't be any way to charge it, because there won't be any ports. So they already took out the headphone jack, and they're going to take everything out. So now no lightning, no nothing. So now I guess, I already charged this wirelessly, but I have the option of using USB for some purpose, and they're saying, nope, I'm going to take that away from you too. So now they control the device. You can't fix it. You can't do anything to it. You can't repair it. So they got a hold of you. And then you are just so attached to the phone that you never let it go. And then it tracks you all day. And you're saying, I don't really care about privacy. It's not important that the phone has so much knowledge over me. and it's not, it's okay. I like it. Apple is good in privacy, in your opinion, PYP Studio. So why is your location getting sold from an iPhone? Why is my location getting sold from an iPhone? Why does an iPhone do Wi-Fi scanning so that it gets the router's MAC addresses for your Wi-Fi triangulation? You say it doesn't do anything. Why does it do telemetry? It even knows how many times you open up an app, how many minutes you use the phone, which app you use, how much time you spent on it, what goes on in the traffic, if you're using a VPN or not, what your ID is, how much you're spending your money on, what you're spending your money on, and I mean, I can go on and on. It just goes nonstop. If you are using email on it, they get to read that too. So it's like, where do you stop here? Then you're saying the phone is a privacy phone. It's marginally better than an Android, but just marginally. It doesn't even come close to what happens with a Linux phone. Let me tell you what this phone knows about me. This is Ubuntu Touch here. Okay. What does this phone know about me? I'm trying to what does this phone know about me? Well, guys, not much. Doesn't know much about what I'm doing. Seriously. It has a VPN on it. It doesn't report anything to anyone. Heck, you can check the open source to see if it is reporting anything to anyone. And nothing. And you turn off the GPS, and that's the only way it can track location. And if you turn that off, then nothing. I mean, my goodness, this is like, we're talking about no knowledge, therefore no power. This is how bad the knowledge is for Ubuntu Touch. Ubuntu Touch, hello Kathy, Ubuntu Touch does not know how many users they have. This is true actually of every Linux platform. They don't know how many users they have because the phones don't report to home base. They started to have Ubuntu, the desktop Ubuntu, which is not the same as this. This is not desktop Ubuntu. So desktop Ubuntu, they start to put in some code to track so that they can find out how many users they have. And the community got so upset with them that they took it out. So it just goes to show, Linux, they don't know anything. They don't even know how many people download. So it's crazy. They don't know how many people download the app. I have a budget Nokia phone. I'm not confident phones can't be tracked anywhere, anytime, based on the chipset. Oh, that is correct, Larry. You are correct in that, and that's why we want the hardware switches. Because yes, Ubuntu Touch may not track you, but I have the videos on the back doors, and watch those videos, backdoors on your phone. Those are tracking. That's tracking occurring on the baseband modem. So if your phone has a baseband modem, you can be tracked. Now, can you stop the tracking? Actually, yes. Remove the SIM card. Although it can track you, that can't identify you. So remove the SIM card and then done deal. That's all you need to do. Remove the SIM card. Somebody says, what about 911 calling? No. Remove the SIM card. I talked to somebody to verify that. If you're calling 911, they direct you to 911 and they don't actually have any information for you. So that's all you do is, if you have one of these that doesn't have a hardware switch, you can remove the SIM card. It actually stops tracking. So if you're going to go to a protest and you don't have much of a device, and you don't have an iPhone, a Linux phone is very safe, and you want to make it absolutely safe, just take off the SIM card. That's how it works. And we'll talk again about that. I know 911 works without SIM card. You have very funny videos, Pizza Loving Nerd. I was amused by your comment. I see you. You're having these anti-Librem 5 comments, and it's funny. So, pizza loving nerd. We'll talk about that. There's a lot I want to talk about, so we'll talk about that later. So, so let's see. Apple will call their folding display paper and call it an innovation. Stay cool. Now, stay cool. What are you referring to? How? What? Stay cool. Which question are you referring to? If you would, I can answer it if you. I know what you're referring to. I don't think charging is a different with a Linux phone. If you can get one, I don't think charging is different with a Linux phone. Not sure what that means. Okay, but I guess you're having your own conversation. It sounds still okay in here, so I'm trying to speak closer here, but I don't want it to be on overdrive here. I hate Apple phones. I hate internal battery time phones. I am no longer on social media, but on here. Killer Metal, you need to be on Brax.me. That is not your father's social media. Okay? That is not 2007 social media. So come to Brax.me. Brax.me, guys, open source, social media, open source messaging. So if you say, well, we don't trust you, that can now be laid to rest. Brax.me, open source, Rob Braxman /Brax Me on GitHub. So if you want to, I've been putting up even updates to it. You can see all the updates I'm doing live. AMG, if you want to see some programming, you go to GitHub, and if you click the right stuff, you see all the programming changes I'm making. Linux is power, and power is Linux. Yes, but knowledge is power, and you don't want to give that knowledge to someone else. So, and $2,000 Librem 5 phone, yes. The Librem 5 is supported at first, but I don't trust Purism to deliver. Their phone only has 1 hour battery life. It's super expensive. Pizza loving nerd, come on. Now, that I understand the problems with the Librem 5, but I wouldn't worry about something like battery life when they're not charging. The problem is there's no standby, right? And there's no standby mode. So it's running at full power constantly. So power saving is in the Linux kernel somewhere. There are many computers with power saving. So I don't think they have to start from scratch. So yeah, they didn't get to it yet. I don't mind supporting the Made in America version. Be a proud nationalist, and Smith and Wesson is knowledge. I'll look into it. You're right about your past video. Your phone is not your friend. People don't get it. Yes, Killer Metal. Killer Metal, you've been, I remember now. You were an early follower with my older videos. Yes, I remember. I remember now. So, what kind of metal are you, does Killer Metal imply death metal? I'm trying to share a YouTube video link, especially for sheeps. My comment disappeared. Yes, stay cool. You cannot post links on a video. It's automatically going to get. It's going to be stopped, and it will think it's spam. So be careful with that. CVE 2019 499 is a bug. VPN is hacked. Yeah, but I have an app that can spot somebody in your network that can cause that hack, and you can hack them back. Actually, it's on GitHub. It's open source as well. So I just gotta fix the interface. So yes, if somebody comes in my network and hacks my VPN, I can be looking at them saying, "I know who you are," and then I can go hack you. So I wouldn't worry about that. In order for the VPN to be hacked, they have to be right next to you on the network. So, yeah, that's not something that average people have to worry about at their house. People can remove the spaces. I still believe in other Linux phones, but the L5 keeps doing screw up versus screw up. That's why I think the Pinephone will be good. Okay, so let me just again remind you before I exit this topic. and then I'll go to the Pinephone. About and then pizza loving, we're going to talk about that. But again, to remind you, I created a platform that's been running for a few years, and it's called Brax.me, and I really didn't promote it in any way other than to do it on social media. Actually, I was serving enterprise clients for many years, so I wasn't like really pushing it on everyday people. So I don't do the enterprise stuff anymore. So now this has been open sourced, and it's because it's open source, you can see that it's a trustworthy messaging system. It runs on Android, it runs on iOS, it runs on Linux, it runs on a browser, on any browser, it runs on any phone that has a browser. So and it's it has end-to-end encryption if you want. It has social media messaging and blogging, and even has extra features like making your own websites and making a store. You can see me do that when I give you the link rob.brax.me. That's actually a feature. It's a paid feature of Brax where I can make my own website, and then it links to my store. That's also another paid feature. And I'm able to do everything at once from one platform, including charging money for my services, all in there. It's going to be simple, and I don't need a server. I don't need anything. That's what Brax Me offers, and that's now open source. And the source code is on Rob Braxman /BraxMe on GitHub. So please support this, because I'm obviously not going to make money from licensing anymore, because I open source it with GPL version 3. And the problem with GPL version 3, it means that even I cannot use that source code to turn it to a proprietary system later on and make money from it. It's basically going to be guaranteed to be free forever and ever. So please support the app, because it's of benefit to the community for safety, as well as supporting the free and open source software products. So, okay, so all we need is phone easily removable SIM card. Then yes, all you need is where do I have them? Yeah, like a pointed little thumbtack, and then you can kind of like poke it. Sound is great. Okay, so I came up with, I don't know want my real name online. So your video about how people shouldn't put their real names online, meaning privacy, and yes, my name has to do with heavy metal. So anyway, Killer Metal, the idea is pseudo anonymity, and you are doing it very, very well. That's what my app supports, is pseudo anonymity. Pseudo anonymity is different than pure anonymity, because the problem with pure anonymity is nobody knows who they're talking to. So you basically have no identity, so we don't know who you are. Pseudo anonymity is when you take the identity like a handle or some sort of name or hashtag or something that we can refer to. For example, I can refer to, hey, yo, Killer Metal, pizza loving nerd, and I don't need to know anybody's name. I don't need to know Kathy Anderson's name, but Kathy Anderson always puts her name. So unfortunately, I know Kathy Anderson's name. But I also know Mr. H's name. So pseudo-anonymity is when you come up with a name that is not yours, and then you do not connect it in social media. So when somebody searches your name, it's not tied to anything else. So you maintain several identities, and by doing so, no one gets the knowledge. And if no one gets the knowledge, they don't get the power. 7K subscribers now. Hopefully is... I'm hoping it's more than 7K. If it's only at 7K, we got a problem. Hopefully 7.2K, shortly. How do you guys like Ubuntu Touch? I have never used it. Ubuntu Touch it's fine. It works, and there's some limitations if you're used to iPhones and so on. But for what I need to do, it has the basics that I need. and I believe I did a video explaining it. The main usability gripe that I have on Ubuntu Touch is that it's really, really tiny. Stuff, the buttons and everything, the menus, everything is very tiny. And when you're trying to do something fast, it causes extra clicks because you can't see it or you can't reach it. So yeah, so that's all solvable. And I actually tweaked mine. I increased the font size a little bit so it's not so small. But maybe some of you millennials may not find as much problem with that. But if you're a millennial, you're not going to like Ubuntu Touch because the phone is slower than newer phones. It's a lot slower. Okay, so yes, if you like what I talk about here, please hit that like button on the video so we tell YouTube that you support the channel and you like the content. If you do, otherwise, then hit dislike. So hit the like button if you do believe in it, and then that will cause YouTube to support it through the AI. The AI starts to share the video. So it's really helpful when you put in the like, hit the like and hit subscribe. So that would be appreciated. So anyway, let me talk about my last video. My last video was actually a response to Randy Horton. Anybody know who Randy Horton is? If you're from Periscope or you follow him on YouTube, then you know who Randy Horton is. So Randy Horton, he has a channel on YouTube. He's in Saudi Arabia right now, and he has a large following on Periscope. And he left a comment on my video that says, on one of the videos, it says he doesn't think the Linux phone will survive, and he doesn't think it's gonna be accepted. And so I made a video about my thoughts on it, and that's the latest video on there. And the video is basically saying, why do I think that it's going to survive? And the reason was I watched that Librem 5. Now we're going to get to the Librem 5 topic, pizza loving nerd. So I watched the people following the Librem 5, and I made a few videos about the Librem 5, and I was shocked at those videos have 30,000 views now. 30,000 views on these videos that I just talked about the Librem 5. And it's like, whoa. Why would 30,000 people watch my video on a Librem 5? I had no idea. I just did it because, it's something that I was actually interested in it. And I didn't plan it out. And I was surprised that there was so much interest in the Librem 5. Now, what the Librem 5 is obviously a Linux phone. So, okay, it's a Linux phone. So that's one aspect of it. But what Librem did, or Purism did with their phone, is they said, we're going to make this the privacy phone. They didn't make it a Linux phone alone. They really said, we're going to make this the privacy phone. And when I mean privacy phone, they went overboard. They said, we're going to remove what we can with chips in there that have proprietary code, if we can. They're not able to do all of them, but a lot of it they tried to remove. We're going to use Linux on it. We're going to remove the modem, the baseband modem, and the Wi-Fi. And the reason for that is those all have proprietary software that actually can be updated even while you have the phone. And then it can be used to spy on you. And I have a video about backdoors to the baseband to show you that actually happens. So a lot of people supported the Librem 5 project, and they actually went past their goal. Their goal was only, I believe, to ship 3,000 phones. And by the time they were done, they actually set a new goal of 10,000 phones. And because they already sold more than 3,000 in the pre-sale. So they were saying, "Oh yeah, this is this is going to go," and a lot of people supported Librem 5, and so I thought that people were going to support the Librem 5 because it was a privacy phone, and surprisingly, that's not the case. When I did my little survey on that video, as it turns out, a lot of people are getting the Librem 5 phone not because it's a privacy phone, but because it's a Linux phone. Well, that is very distressing. That is very distressing if I were Purism. That should really bother me because they spent all of their attention making a brand new phone when they could have kept it simple. They could have just taken a Raspberry Pi and adjusted some circuitry on it and made a phone. And in fact, I saw somebody that made a Beagle board and then just put a baseband modem on it. Or in the case of Pine 64, they took a Pine 64 Rock 64 board, which is kind of like a Raspberry Pi, and put in a modem on it. It already had Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, so they didn't have to just create a new phone. So the question now is, Purism spent all of their time making this phone that does all the privacy stuff, and it's very thick because of it. And they're having a lot of hardware problems with it because it's new. I mean, they have to come up with new drivers, new everything. And now it turns out that, at least in the survey that I conducted here, I know it's only it's not a true survey, but it kind of boggles the mind that a large number of people who bought the Librem 5 may not care about privacy, in which case Purism is sucked. Why would anyone want a Librem 5 phone unless you're into privacy? If you're not into privacy, then you're not going to have a problem using a Pinephone. You don't need all those fancy switches and external modem and all that, because the Pinephone runs with Linux just as well. CPUs are fairly close. They both use the same A53 quad processor, although there's a extra coprocessor on the Librem 5, and they're almost the same in CPU in CPU speed, but there's very little difference. It's like, I don't know, 2% difference. So it shocked me, and it shocked me because I thought that, the reason I'm interested in a Librem 5 phone is because of the privacy issue and the fact that the phone has things that can block the back doors in the cell modem and the Wi-Fi because of the switches, which, by the way, the Pinephone has too. But the Pinephone didn't do anything sophisticated with that. They didn't have to come up with new circuitry to say, we're going to have a plug-in module for the Wi-Fi, plug-in module for the modem. And doing that, we're doing the plug-in system so that we can put a switch on the M.2 socket where it's plugged in, and that's where they put the switching circuitry on, and that's the way they cut power to the unit. Well, that doesn't make any sense to go through all that when all the Pinephone did, Pine 64 people did, is they attached the modem, because they attached the cell baseband modem to USB. So they didn't even have to do any fancy circuitry. Think about that. It's very easy to look. There's only so many pins to the USB. There's not very many pins in there. 4? I don't know. Look at the USB slot. How many pins are in the USB? They're not much. So you look at the USB, and they said, okay, we'll tap into the USB line and put a direct connection to the USB bus, and then route it through the modem, and that's it. And they already do that. They already know how to do that because they've already done it to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So which means that they did it in a very, very simple way. So the Pine 64 people knew their electronics. So TL, the owner of Pine 64, is a electrical engineer. So although I believe that he has some design in either China or Taiwan, I don't know where, but that's where they designed the motherboard, and so so he knows what he's doing, and he already has experience. Well, guess what? The circuitry for a phone is not much different than a Raspberry Pi or a Pine 64 board. Again, all they did in Pine 64 is take the board, which already has a Wi-Fi that you attach to the USB bus. They just put a different connector on a Pine 64 board so that you can plug in the external Wi-Fi. So they already know how to do that, and they made another connection for USB for the modem. And basically all they had to do was miniaturize it. There was nothing else they had to do. The circuitry is fine. It's basically just changing the form factor. That's all they had to do, change the form factor and put a screen on. Again, USB. Wow. Or HDMI. Do it through the HDMI port. So I'm like guessing to myself, wow, Librem 5 got screwed here, because if the market does not want a Linux phone for privacy reasons, then Purism is zucked. Purism is zucked, because they're not going to buy a Librem 5 for $700 when you can buy a $150 Pinephone. So I still bought one. It doesn't matter to me. I need one, and I'm happy to experiment with it. But day by day, I wonder, the value. Is it worth $699? I paid $720 for the Pinephone, for the Librem 5, and I guess it's an investment for the video, so I can learn what it does and then use it for the video, and at least in that sense, it's going to be valuable. So I wanted a Linux phone, but I will wait for the next version of the Pinephone. You don't need to wait for the next version of the Pinephone. It's the same one. Linux is what Android should be. The version of the Pinephone that's currently available for developers just does not have the software, which is just going to be inserted into the SD slot. The actual phone is going to be exactly the same. The actual phone will be the same. So if you got your Pinephone in advance, all you need to get is the SD card, which I'm sure it's fairly easy to burn. I can tell you how to burn it. It's not difficult. Okay, so you download the image and you use, depending on what system you have. If you have Linux or Mac, you use Balena Etcher and you burn the SD card. If you have Windows, you use Win32 Disk Imager, and a few minutes later, 20 minutes later, you have an SD card. You plug it in, done. So I'd rather have the phone now. I'd rather have the phone in my hand so I can play with it. So yes, I know it's not going to run yet, but I don't have to wait for it. The software will be ready when it's ready, and I'd like to have it in my hand. So the Pinephone appeals to me as I mostly need phone and text when not at home. Actually, I don't necessarily recommend that. You have one of these already in Tarmire, but you don't need a Pinephone. This will work better than a Pinephone, because this one is faster than a Pinephone. This old phone here is faster than a Pinephone. That's not why I want the Pinephone. To be honest, this will work just as well for using Ubuntu Touch. I don't need an iPhone. I don't need to work for a Pinephone to use Ubuntu Touch. This is really what I'm trying to get at. Why do you want a Pinephone? And this is where the geek factor comes in. Okay? And this is why I'm a little worried about what happens to the Librem 5. Because if the majority of people want a Linux phone for the geek factor, because they want to be able to play with it, then I would say you will do just as well with a Pinephone. The Pinephone looks great. It looks like an Android phone. It doesn't, it looks like a standard Android phone, a Pinephone, and it looks like it has a nice display, just like any typical Android phone, and it has replaceable batteries, and it has dip switches instead of the side switches on a Librem 5. So it has the privacy features on it, and it's very simply done. And the baseband modem is separated from the main board through the USB bus, which means it's safe. It doesn't have access to the main memory just like it does on Android. So all of the main advantages, without going too far, 80% of the advantages of the Purism Librem 5 are already in the Pinephone. So I'm not sure what the Librem 5 is going to do extra, other than the fact that they introduced this market and they actually created the software called Fosh, which is going to be available to any device in the future, including like a Raspberry Pi. If you want to turn it to a phone, the software that Purism is making will be able to support that. So I'm actually worried about, if the Librem 5 is actually addressing the correct market based on the reactions to my video. I actually wonder, and it made me wonder about myself too. So a lot of you are following my channel and don't necessarily believe in my privacy message, and that means I have to still convince you that there's a privacy issue. That's what it tells me. You're coming in here because you like the fact that I'm very techie, which I am, and yes, and I don't have any qualms about my techie skills. I'm pretty deep into that. My skills are very high. I've done every kind of system imaginable. I worked in enterprise systems. I worked in consumer products. I have social media products. I have everything. I've done everything. For those of you who never heard of this about me, I am one of the inventors of electronic health records. So, many thousands of people in the healthcare industry are using products that I wrote. How many thousands? I don't know. A big chunk. It's a very big chunk. Hospitals, clinics, groups, medical groups. It's a lot of people. So a lot of those people use my products, things that I wrote. So I know I've been in this a while. When people ask me, where do I know my hacking skills? That's because since the early days, my clients were all, getting hacked. Large hospitals would get hacked and so on, and they can't solve it. And back then, there were no cybersecurity experts, so they would call me in, and I will be the one to solve it. So that's why I have all that skill, because they have no one else to go to. I had to have the expertise in all aspects of cybersecurity, because I had to even teach my people how to do it, and so I had to make tech support people be cybersecurity experts and so on, and I was the one doing that. So I have a very, very strong background in what I do here, and so some of you are following me from the tech perspective, but I hope you follow me because of the privacy perspective, because that's the reason I introduced some of the things that I introduced. For example, why do I use ham radio? I don't use ham radio just because I want to do CQ all day. I want to use ham radio and do mesh networks and do all this because I think it's an alternative that offers more privacy. So I'm actually, thinking ahead here, that I'm looking for communication methods that, are not subject to mass data collection. Again, repeat what I just said. Hello, C capital. So let me just repeat what I said. What I said was, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Cliche. Knowledge is power. Well, think again, because my job is to keep them from getting that knowledge so they don't get the power. Okay, that's my new mantra. Let's see if Snowden steals that, okay? Because I've never heard anybody say this. I just came up with this tonight, okay? Knowledge is power, and our job is to keep them from getting the knowledge so they don't get the power. A little different approach. That's what privacy is. Privacy is, maybe I need to make a video about that. Privacy is withholding the knowledge, and if you don't give the knowledge, they don't have power over you. Okay, you made a full transition to YouTube. No Perry anymore. Temporarily, I didn't configure for Perry. Yeah, I didn't configure for Periscope. So it's not permanent. I have to think about it. Pick a pen testing focus. There is just so much to pen test. It gets overwhelming. Well, Larry Moore, I spent all my day doing that. That's because I have a privacy app. I break into my app. I spend, a lot of time every year saying what new things do I need to do to break in here. So every year I try to break into my app and then I modify it. And that's what's in the open source. So it's pretty sturdy. It hasn't failed an attack yet. So it's not been hasn't been attacked. And I have, automated testing tools that can attack it, and so far it's been good. Now you can now focus the attack because you have the source code. So I've exposed the source code, therefore it can be subject to more attacks, and so it will have more attacks, and we will have to deal with that as time goes by. But at least it'll be out on the open. When people can see the source code, then they see how to attack it, and we can solve it. Need a tiny paperclip to pop out the SIM card, though. A paperclip doesn't work. You need to get something sharper than that, and a thumbtack works great. Thumbtack works perfectly. That's what I use. A paperclip is too small. Thumbtack is fine. I think one way of not being hacked into anything is not being online on any site. Emails, okay, but you can still be hacked. Email's the primary source of hacking, Killer Metal. Because I'm about to do another video on that. Okay, so yeah, the majority of attacks come from email. So my solution is I don't do much email. So I'm very hard to attack because I don't even open the email. So okay, I'm not on the hood. Okay, what am I missing here? I have an essay about. Are you even you're like in high school, right? Pizza loving nerd, or are you in like 8th grade? I have an essay about tech due on Monday about tech, and I choose to talk about privacy. Can I quote that knowledge is power? Sure, quote it for me though, Pizza. Yes, but I don't want it to get on the internet and I don't get credit because I just invented that. I use a thumbtack for SIM card removal. Yes, that's been the fastest way. Brax is safer, you can't get hacked. Well, it's open source, AMG, so I can't say it can't get hacked, but it will be more targeted attacks can happen because of the open source, and we will solve that when time comes. People are the weakest link. Hack 5 is pretty tame, but the content is legit. Yeah, I like Hack 5 people. They've been on my broadcast before. So, yeah, they're kind of similar to me. I kind of do the same things, and they focus on the same things. Although they have a cybersecurity focus, whereas I have a privacy focus. But, yeah, they're pretty legit from the hacking side. Yeah. Middle school, 8th grade. Email's the weakest link. Yes. Privyet. Boleslav. Gundarev. Privyet. Is that Rob? Is that how you spell Rob? Wow. I just need to, learn, what do you call it? See, I can't even, I can't remember what you call it. CYR characters. You tell me later. So welcome, Boleslav. Welcome. So anyway, yeah, and by the way, guys, people have been coming in and out. I'm sure the 64 people here is a different set of 64 people. Make sure you hit that hundreds of you are going to be watching this video, and only a handful of you hit the thumbs up button. So please hit that thumbs up button. That'll be appreciated, because the Cyrillic, yes. Thank you. Okay. I just mental block, Cyrillic. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for all telling me. Look at you. 1, 2, 3, 4. The last AC what had was about power. A YouTuber named Robert says that knowledge is power, and them knowing about you gives them power over you. Pizza loving nerd, you're awesome. So anyway, so this is the comment that I thought about based on my video on Linux phones. If in fact people don't really buy a Librem 5 phone because of privacy, then why are they buying it? And why would you need that when you can get a Pinephone for a lot cheaper? So if you're not into privacy, if you're into privacy, then the Pinephone is more private. So in terms of level of privacy, the Pinephone shoots for 90%. The Librem 5 shoots for 90% or 95%, and the Pinephone shoots for less than that, maybe 70%. So for pure privacy, then I understand that the Librem 5 is better, and it will be better. Now, having said that, and this is not a privacy comment now, pizza-loving nerd. This is not a privacy comment, but I'm going to tell you about me. I'm a maker, and maker means I take these SBC, single board computers, like that, and I make products out of it. Okay, so, as you know, I have so many products that are based on Raspberry Pis. I'm called a maker. It's a small business that makes, that sells these kits things and creates products out of it. So as you can see here, I have my alarm system, the radar that covers 8 meters in a circle, 8-meter circle, and protects all that, and it will fire up when it sends its activity within the 8-meter circle. And yes, and that, as well as this, is running a Raspberry Pi. I also have a security camera that's also running a Raspberry Pi. If I can find it. Where did I put it? Okay, I also made this. This is a security camera, HD camera, motion detect, outdoor, made for outdoor, custom case. And with built-in, it's a built-in computer. It has storage and everything. It has a its own flash drive, and the intent is that this itself will, handle all of the security, external security for your house. And it's also running a Raspberry Pi. And then I started thinking about it, guys. What the hell is a Pinephone? Well, people, a Pinephone is a Raspberry Pi on steroids. If you open up a Pinephone, the innards of the Pinephone come from ROC 64. That's the ROC 64 chip. ROC 64 motherboard made by Pine 64. And if you buy a Pine 64 motherboard, it has an external Wi-Fi adapter you plug into the M2 slot, so it's kind of similar to the Librem 5. And then it has USB and all that. So what they did is on the Pinephone, they just flattened that. They took away the M2 slots. They took away all the USB ports. They took away the Ethernet and basically flattened the board so it's very small and flat and no external ways to plug in other than USB-C, and then they just changed the form factor. It's using the exact same. It's using the exact same chip. It's called the All-Winner 64. It uses the exact same chip as the Pine 64 board. Well, the Pine 64 board is a replacement, the Rock 64 board is a alternative to the Raspberry Pi. Now, if you go into the internet and do comparisons between Rock 64 and Pine and a Raspberry Pi, a Rock 64 is faster than a Raspberry Pi by a significant amount, between 2 to 10 times faster, depending what it is you're testing. So roughly, I'd say at least twice as fast as a Raspberry Pi for basic computing. It's a little faster in memory. That's why it can go up to 10 times faster as far as memory kind of activity. Now, what is interesting about the Pine 64 board is, again, a similar Raspberry Pi. It runs Linux. It runs similar operating systems that Raspberry Pi runs. It runs the same kind of hardware, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, USB, and all that. So it's very similar to a Raspberry Pi. Now, what do you do when you get a Raspberry Pi and you want to put a monitor on it? Well, what you do is you buy an external LCD screen, and then you plug in the LCD screen into the Pinephone, okay, which you can do as well to the Raspberry Pi, and you can do the same on a Rock 64 board. Now, what they did, and it's really kind of simple if you think about it, all they did on the Pinephone is take the exact Rock 64 board, and then they hardwired the screen. Okay, so the screen is now directly connected to the motherboard. And then on top of that, the Wi-Fi, they just flattened that same circuitry. They already had that. They just flattened it so it doesn't occupy the same amount of space. And then the only thing they had to add was the modem. Okay, forgetting the modem for a moment. So let's say you say, who cares about the Zucking modem? Okay, because I really want to forget about the Zucking modem. Let me just tell you something here. If I had a Raspberry Pi and I have to put a monitor to it and Wi-Fi, and power supply and battery, I'm going to spend the same amount that I spent on a Pinephone. So basically, I'm going to tell you something, guys. If the Pinephone does not sell for reasons related to using it as a phone, it has to sell as a Zucking computer. It's basically a computer equipped with a screen already. How can that thing fail at $200? How can that fail? I could come up with projects. I could make it a Tor router, with a screen. I can make it into anything that has a screen that's used for Raspberry Pis. It's impossible for the Pinephone to fail. Impossible. It's a Zucking SBC. Okay, single board computer. So they priced it so it doesn't cost any more than a Raspberry Pi. The only thing that it needs is FCC approval. If it has FCC approval, it's gonna rock. So I'm telling you right now, I don't care what happens to Linux phones. That Pinephone will sell. I myself will find use for that. And can you imagine, selling it for a secondary purpose and say, oh, you can also use it as a phone? Ooh, really? You mean I can use this phone for doing some other Linux things? Can I run this as a server? Yes. Yes. You could run the Pinephone as a Zucking server. This is a crazy thought. Crazy thought. You could run a Pinephone as a server. Yep. Yes, guys. Zucking a match with Zuckerberg, in other words. Zucking is just Zuckerberg. It's a match between Zuckerberg and our word. No, it's Zuckerberg. Because Zuckerberg zucks you. Pinephone would make a good Bitcoin node. Standard node, not a mining node. Mobile SBC, guys. I'm telling you, I wanted to make a video about that. Say, what can you do with a zucking Pinephone? I mean, the ideas. There's a lot of there's a lot of things you can do with a Pinephone, which is just the same reason you would buy a Raspberry Pi. Let's see an iPhone run a server. Yes, Jason, can you? If somebody says, "Well, I have an iPhone. My iPhone is so fancy. Look at my fancy iPhone," and you bring out your Pinephone, can you zucking run a server? Can you do that? Here, access my server right now. Here's the IP address. So it's gonna be funny. There's just so many things. I love SBCs. The idea of a single board computer. There's so many things you can do with these, even for security. So can you imagine running Kali on a Pinephone? Kali on a Pinephone with full screen, Bluetooth keyboard, suck. Pen tester's delight. And it's so handy because it's flat. It's not like a Raspberry Pi that's kind of thick. You have a Pinephone, you have a Bluetooth keyboard, and you can start hacking. You don't need to put a SIM card. It doesn't even need that. In fact, you don't even have to wait for the Pine 64 to be completely supported by all these mobile platforms. You can already use it for what I'm talking about immediately. It's going to be crazy. So you run a server on a jailbroken iPhone. What can you do on a zucking jailbroken iPhone? Not much. It's already good value because you get battery-powered SBC with touch. Exactly, pizza-loving nerd. Can you try buying a Raspberry Pi with a case, putting a screen on, a nice quality screen. I'm talking about the resolution of a Pinephone, and with good amount of memory on it, more than a standard, more than the 1 gigabyte that Pi 4 will come standard. So it comes with 2 gigabytes, and then what else do you put on there? And then you put a battery and power supply, charger, where you don't need that because you get the battery. Touch screen. See if you can do that on a Raspberry Pi for much difference in price. No, it'll be close to the same price, and guess what? The Raspberry Pi will be slower. So you can turn the Raspberry Pi into a phone. In theory, it'll be quite thick though. You don't need a Pine book. Just why do you need a Pine book when you can get a Pine phone? Yes, just get a Pinephone and use magnifying glasses to read the screen. So, who needs a Pine book? Try making a portable Raspberry even just better. It's hard to make it look good while being under 150. The case, pizza loving nerd, the case. How in the heck are you gonna package? These cases are all custom built, 3D printed. We made these cases ourselves, okay? These are we designed the cases here, and as you can see, it doesn't follow any 3D printing design. We actually made it on our own. And that's why there's a custom thing on it, on the cover. Everything is custom. Every little indentation on the inside to hold this, everything is custom. And we're able to do that because we made it on our own. But unfortunately, can you imagine this as a phone? And a screen? I mean, it's gonna be like a phone from the 1980s, right? Or late 80s, mid 80s. It'll be a phone from the 80s. Yes. The Pi 4 wouldn't be slower. That can do dual 4K monitors. I could probably video edit on it. No, the CPU is slower on a Pi 4. The 4K video is humongously slow on a Pi 4. it's really it's not usable for 4K. Now I'm broadcasting in. I'm sending 4K now to YouTube. So I don't know if the live stream is being sent in 4K or not. So what guys? Just a survey. What resolution are you watching the video? Can you tell me if you're watching in 1020, 720, or higher? Just a quick survey here. No, the 80s where you put the phone in the car. You know, large computers that you put in the car. That's for the 80s. I don't do I do 1080p. I'm asking, watching me right now. What resolution are you watching me at right now? Because I am sending 4K. I'm sending 4K, but they probably don't do 4K. You're watching in 360p, 720. Okay. Anybody watching in 1080? Bratwurst Power, 1080. So Aurora is watching in 1080. Okay. Maybe I sent a maximum of 1080. That's probably the max I'm sending. Right, but I'm actually can't send up to 4K because this is 4K video. So, okay, 1080. A lot of you 1080. Good. Yeah, you should watch me in 1080. So, I mean, if you have a nice screen. 1080 if you have a nice screen. Otherwise, 720 is fine. So, otherwise, look at all these expensive cameras and lenses here and, DSLR, bokeh in the background. Look at the bokeh in the light bokeh. I mean, it's like I'm going all the way here. Carl Schneider. Okay, so I must not be sending it in 4K. I may have maxed it out to 1080. Okay, that's good to know. I actually forgot. 720 default. Okay, it doesn't show the option for 4K. Okay, good. So I just curious about, because I think I was broadcasting in 720 before. Yeah, I was watching in 720 before. Yeah, I mean, you don't need high resolution to see my face. Right. You know, at 4K, you watch my videos in 4K and you're like looking at every spot in my face. Okay? Hello, Hackers Game. So yeah, if you watch me at 4K, you're like look at all the stuff on his face. I got to be careful because so much detail, and it's like a hair that I didn't cut and everything would be visible in the 4K. I mean, I'm surprised at the resolution, so it makes me look kind of bad with the 4K. But what the heck? Okay, so we'll deal with it. How are you doing, Hackers Game? So by the way, you can follow Hackers Game as well. He's also doing these videos on the Librem 5, and Hackers Game really gets into it at an even deeper level than I do, because he actually has a dev kit. So I don't have time to tinker with a dev kit, so I don't get to that level because I'm more of an application programmer. So Hackers Game, like me, started to get a lot of followers, subscribers here on YouTube because we were attracting people interested in Linux phones. So I wouldn't stream 4K because of YouTube's facial recognition. Too late. They don't need 4K to do facial recognition. I mean, I have 1,000 videos on Periscope and Twitter, more. So there's probably over 1,000 videos of me on Periscope and Twitter. There's probably and then I have somebody may have recorded broadcast on AM radio, because I was on AM radio for a while, and so yeah, I mean. It's all okay, pizza loving nerd, because I thought about it. This is all planned out. So it's all planned out. What do you think of using a non-free platform as a privacy? What do you think about using non-free platform as a privacy promoting guide? What do you mean by that, Eamon? What do you think about using non-free platform as a privacy promoting guide? Do you mean YouTube? Are you talking about YouTube? Yeah, I need to specifically address it if I know what you're talking about. Just because we all have different objectives and we're all trying to do different things, and believe it or not, why do you think the software needs to be free in order for one to accomplish some objectives? So yeah, why does it have to be free for me to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish? Let me just tell you, somebody asked me this question today, and I will answer it. Somebody asked me, in fact, I get asked this all the time. They ask me, why do I not load my videos on BitChute, Library, and so on? So why do I not, or even Vimeo, why do I not load my videos on different platforms? And the answer is, I already have a platform I can load my videos to. I don't need to load it elsewhere. I can load if I wanted to, I can load it on my own platform, and it's free, and it's open source. So I know it will be around for a while. But the difference, guys, is that you have to understand how YouTube works. YouTube is not me pontificating in here, and then all of you start following me because you spread the word around to your friends and they all come watch me. That's not how YouTube works, people. That's not how YouTube works. The way YouTube works is the algorithm decides what people see. The algorithm decides if you're going to be promoted. The algorithm decides if you're going to be important or not. Well, the algorithm decided that it wants to promote me. So I have growing subscriber base, and it's still growing very, very fast. And it's growing because YouTube decided that they're making money from my platform. Therefore, they're going to promote me. They're promoting me not because they like me. They're promoting me because they make money from me. And they're going to make me famous. I'm not doing anything here. They're doing it. They're making me famous. And all I have to do is make content that they can then sell. Okay, so if you're thinking that I'm being used by YouTube, we're kind of using each other. So YouTube is using me to make money, and I'm using YouTube to reach my audience. And how do I substitute that? I already have an app, but who's going to watch it if you're not already on the platform? So in order for them for me to reach a larger audience, I need somebody else pushing me. And here, I don't have to pay YouTube to promote me. YouTube is deciding to do that on their own. It's like win-win. Free. So that is why I have to appreciate the environment that I'm at with YouTube. And my content is not something that their algorithm needs to be worried about. YouTube algorithm, low data mode for me. Well, you get a YouTube button soon to hang on the wall. You have to be at 100,000 next year. I keep the algorithm close. Yes, exactly. Larry Moore, smart. Keep your enemies close. Keep your friends close. Your enemies even closer. You're at 720. Okay. So the authors of GPL3 encourage for-profit software. FOSS and profits aren't mutually exclusive. Red Hat is 99% FOSS and worth billions. Okay, so I released Brax.me as GPL version 3. It will keep me from making money in licensing. So that's going to be past tense. So I can only make money from services. So when you come to me and support my products and support me with buying my product like this, which helps you, this is the only way I can make a living, is from creating products that you like, because I can't make that money anymore from licensing. And I was making money licensing Brax.me to enterprise users. So they were using it for private social media. So I can't do that anymore. I can't make money from that anymore. So yeah, so I have to be my own, ad company and promote products that I have. And yes, this is a nice Christmas present for you guys, because this is going to put you and your family on the internet without having to worry about it, because I have several of this at my house. Not one, I have several of these. I have 3 of these running at different parts of my house, and which means I don't have to worry about a VPN, because everyone connects to it. They're automatically on a VPN, because this is a VPN router. Okay, so I don't need to worry about protecting privacy of anyone in my house. They just log in, even guests, and they don't have to worry about anything, and they're already protected. Because if I don't, then their data will be my data, and my data will be sold, including my locations. What do you think of Pinephone in the middle of 2020? Based on what I just said, losing Meringue. I was just talking about how I was just saying, if you missed my last comment, was that I can't imagine the Pinephone ever losing. In fact, it's impossible. I'm going to tell you right now that if Pinephone said we're going to get out of the business, and we made 50,000 phones, and I hope somebody buys this, because sorry, we're not going to make Linux phones anymore. Those 50,000 phones will get sold fast, just because they are actually Raspberry Pis with screens and Wi-Fi built in, with a case and battery. What the zuck? You can't get a Raspberry Pi for that price, and this is 2 to 10 times faster than Raspberry Pi. I don't even care if you ever use the phone feature of it at all, ever. It'll be useful. It will be great. Pinephones will be fantastic for makers. So if you're a maker like me, I'm going to look at the Pinephone and said, what product can I make with this? It doesn't have to be a phone. Does not have to be a phone. I can ignore the phone part of that. The chip for the phone, who cares? Turn it off. Snip it off. I don't need to ever use it. It can be used as a server. It can be used to do anything that I do on a Raspberry Pi. Security modules, security camera. Heck, it has a camera. I can make it the security camera. Instead of Ring, I'll put Pinephone on my door. How about that? Did you hear what I just said? Pinephone as a Ring on your front door. Pinephone as Ring. Flat. Battery operated, just like Ring. Suck that, Ring. Pinephone. Oh my gosh. There's so many things I can sell with this. I'm excited. I'm getting it soon. They said they start shipping in the first part of January. So it probably takes 2 weeks to arrive. So I'll probably get it like mid-January, like hopefully January 15 or so, or thereabouts. Because I was in the first batch, so I'm certain. I bought it in the first few hours, so I'm sure I'm probably in the first 200 buyers. So I'm using closed source software. I'm excited by the Pinephone because of that. Think about it, guys. If people buy the Pinephone, not necessarily with the interest of using it as a Linux phone, but it does other things, and they say, hey, by the way, you can also use this as a Linux phone, even though you're using it as Ring right now. Guys, I think Pinephone should shoot for a larger number than 50,000 units. Yeah, I think that Pine 64 should shoot for, start with 100,000. I don't know how you could possibly not sell this. It doesn't have to run as a Linux phone. How are hackers getting into Ring? Oh, so easy, Rex. Oh my gosh, I can hack Ring for you. You want me to do a live? I don't have Ring, but I can. I know I easily hack into it. Easy. Not the one that you see on the media. I can hack it in my own way. There are other ways that they've already talked about in the media for hacking a Ring, but I can't. That's why I built these. The reason I built these is because you can hack Ring. You can't hack these. The reason I built this is that Ring is hackable. And the other thing is this does not run on batteries. This runs on power over Ethernet. And it's very well made. And it's, you know, it's made here. And it's it has high quality parts inside. Ring is so dangerous. If you install Ring in your house, you're basically participating in global mass surveillance. So, because they're sharing the videos and the photos to a centralized area that is given that contractors as well as police and law enforcement have access to, but the contractors have access to it, and that's a real issue. Okay, so you do not want, you know, facial recognition and all this to be centralized databases based on Ring. Oh gosh, don't participate in that. Please, if you ordered Ring for the holidays, return it. Return your order of Ring, come back and get this maybe after the holidays are over. Worry about it later. You get these kinds of products that are just safer. What was that gadget you just showed? You mean this one? So I have several gadgets here that I made. This one is a security camera. Now, I've had a lot of security cameras over the years. And I wanted one that was robust and had the software to really handle true motion. So this one has an actual motion sensor. A lot of cameras are not actually motion censored. What they do is they digitally do motion sensing, which is not very accurate. And there's a lot of false stuff on it because if the leaves move, then it gives you motion sensing. This is actually based on distance. So it will I think the distance is like 40 feet. So if it's beyond 40 feet, then it doesn't matter if, you know, the leaves move or not, or it's not going to have an impact. And it's infrared. It's not based on picture digital. It's based on infrared. So it has to be a warm-blooded individual or engine or something that warm to trigger it. So like a car will trigger it, and but it cannot be triggered by just, you know, like some of these cheap cameras like Wise and so on. Those actually don't do actual motion, and they don't work in the dark. This one comes with infrared. It's a mechanical shutter. So at night it switches on the mechanical shutter to infrared. So then you can use infrared lights to light up your property. In the daytime it switches to normal lighting. Now, a lot of these cameras don't do that. They don't. They just operate like so. In the nighttime, if you don't have any lighting, it doesn't have anything. So, and then it also comes with its own storage. So it comes already complete with flash storage, and it's powered by. It comes with its own power supply that's power over Ethernet. So there's only one wire to connect it to your network, and it gets power from that. So you can run 300 feet of Ethernet cable if you want, or there's another way to connect it if you want to use shorter wires using, they're called power lines. So it's in the manual. So you can do that, and so that's one of my products. Again, the whole point of this product is to replace the non-secure products like Ring, because this product cannot be hacked on the internet. It's not open to the internet. If you buy a Ring doorbell, you're subject to putting a subpoena to actually turn footage over to law enforcement. They don't have to get a subpoena to get your footage. They already have the footage. Is it run by? Yes, it is run. It's run by Raspberry Pi. Yes, these are all Raspberry Pi products. This is the other product that I have. Hold on a second here. And this is Brax Wi-Fi, again run by Raspberry Pi. This run on some Raspberry Pi 4. And this is a VPN or Tor router, and solving the problem of giving you security without having to install anything. If a lot of you do Unix or want to get into secure distros of Linux, and you're saying, how do I do that? You have to install all this complex software on a computer to do Unix and cubes and tails. And yet you can't put it on your phone. So your phone is always the problem. This doesn't care what the hardware is because it's Wi-Fi. So this iPhone will connect to the Brax Wi-Fi. I don't have to do anything to the iPhone. There's nothing to set up. I just connect to this Wi-Fi. How hard is it to connect to the Wi-Fi? You go to the Wi-Fi, you select the Wi-Fi, put in the password, you're done. So plug and play. It solves all of that. In fact, if you have a subscription to my VPN, it's already pre-configured. You just plug it in. You plug it in. That's it. You plug it in, and you have access. I have several of these in the house so that it reaches different parts of the house, and so that's another one of my products that I built using a Raspberry Pi. And this is the other one. This is the alarm. And this is a motion sensing alarm. Again, we all built that here. And this is fairly complicated circuitry on the inside and hard to see all the circuitry in there, but handmade here, hand soldered here, and not in China. This is made here. Okay, so each one is individually made. And they're, again, based on a Raspberry Pi. And can't be hacked on the internet. And can I use that VPN? It doesn't need to be any device, Mr. H. The idea of a Brax Wi-Fi router is that you don't need to configure any hardware. But yes, I sell the VPN by itself. If you want to use it on a laptop or individual devices, the VPN is available separately as well. So, but if you want to do a full solution and you really want to do it right, because you understand the risk of people coming to your house, borrowing your Wi-Fi and releasing your IP address, if you understand that problem, and I'm telling you again to repeat, I'll repeat the mantra here again, that you've heard, knowledge is power. Let me repeat, knowledge is power. Therefore, I don't want them to get the knowledge, so they don't get the power. Okay? So, unfortunately, if you don't realize that, anytime you leak information from your house IP address, you are giving them knowledge. And by giving them knowledge, you're giving them power. There's so many things as a data analyst can get from your data that you think you have nothing to hide, and you say, who cares about all the stuff collected over a long period of time? That data can describe your personality, can describe your movements, can describe your beliefs in a very simple way, as saying, just show me what you do on the internet and show me your IP address and location. Those simple things. There will be a huge, humongous database about you of things that you do that you will never, ever realize. And you do not know this because you have no idea until you start going to the network and start sniffing your network. And then you will find out, my gosh, I'm revealing that. I'm going to tell you something very, very basic that you don't even know. Okay. So you bring home a computer and the computer name is Mr. H. You didn't realize you named your computer Mr. H. And you say, well, who cares? It's just a computer name, Mr. H. Okay? And you don't know that Mr. H is actually leaking on the internet. And you don't know this, that your real name is being leaked out in things as obscure as random emails. So let's say you're sending an email to some unknown party and you're using a secret email from Proton Mail. Because you say, oh, I'm so secure, I have Proton Mail. And then it's actually revealing Mr. H in the header. Things like that you don't know about. If you understand what I know, I'm going to tell you, just please trust me when I say you need to withhold all knowledge. I don't care how insignificant you think the knowledge is. You withhold the knowledge and then you get power. You let them not get power. You keep the power. Freaking sniffers. No one will be able to buy or sell without permission from the algorithm. Only only YouTube has the algorithm. I'll put funny host names on my school laptop so that network admins would see it. I think they probably track the MAC address of your Zucking laptop. Pizza loving nerd, they probably have the MAC address. So you're zucked. MAC address with oh, I see. MAC address such and such is changing host names. Yeah, changing computer names. Proton mail headers. Turn on your smart TV and start a PCAP. Yeah. So yeah, can you imagine, guys, talking about a Pinephone? Wireshark, Pinephone. So you go to a network and say, you look like you're just using a normal Pinephone, and you actually have Wireshark. And let me tell you something else. I actually built this app. It's on my GitHub, open source. And I'm not done yet, but one of the nice features about this app, it's a Linux app. It runs on Linux. It's written in Python. And I demonstrated it. And it will make your eyes open, because that's how you stop devices like Ring. But you have a Pinephone, and you can attack a network with a zucking Pinephone. That's the app I built. A Pinephone. Now I gotta change the interface to work on a small screen, because I haven't sized it. I did not use the libhandy library yet, so I got to change that. But if I get that running, it can actually sniff the network and do all that, and run network analysis and all that on a zucking Pinephone. It will be awesome. Okay, if you're a can you imagine if you are a ethical hacker and you have a Pinephone as a pen testing tool? I'm going to tell you, Pine64 needs to up their numbers. Okay, because the people I'm talking about, they don't need a Librem 5. They need a Pine64. Average everyday pen testers, 100% of them would need to buy a Pinephone. Nah, Kali Net Hunter is not going to run my software. No, that's too limited. No, I need full access, because I got to get access to the driver. I need access to promiscuous mode and all that. If you know what my app does, it needs deep access. It's not going to get that from Kali Hunter. It needs full Kali or any distro, but I need access to the driver. That's why I don't care about running Termux and Kali Hunter and all that, because they only give you partial access. So, but unfortunately, I need to run 2 to 3 Android apps. That's okay, Mark R. Get a Pinephone and an Android phone, and instead of running straight Android, run Lineage OS and load the Android apps on the side. You can run my app, Brax Me, the APK. I put the link on the open source, so you can run the APK without going to Google Play. So just download the APK directly to your Android AOSP or custom ROM or whatever, or standard Android, and it will install without ever going to Google Play. So it's called Catch Man in the Middle, Steve, and it's not done yet, but I just tested it, and on a computer, and what it's starting to look like. When I have time, I'm going to finish it, but I've only spent like a week on it. It's already pretty awesome after a week's worth of work. It's basically an app that can get pretty aggressive in a network. It's not just there to it's called Catch Man in the Middle, but it's actually Attack Man in the Middle. Okay, maybe I need to rename it Attack Man in the Middle. It's the kind of app that will never get approved on any app store. No, they're not going to get a aggressive app like this, but it zucking works. This is Linux. That's the kind of stuff you can do in Linux. Risk getting pawned just shopping at Verizon Wireless. I'm late to the party. I'm going to check that out now. Steve, I haven't, I need to finish it. I put the source code out there, but I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. So I will finish it. I just need time. To be honest, I've only spent maybe a week and a half on it. and I haven't gotten to it in a while. And the reason was I suspended it because I wasn't going to get a Librem 5. Now that I'm going to get a Pinephone, I can get back to it. I'm so happy to get that running on a Pinephone because now I will have an attack device. This is what I can do with this. I'll tell you specifically what I can do with this little program that I wrote. I can go around to neighbors' homes, spot the fact that they're running Ring while I'm jogging, and then my app says, ooh, they have Ring. Then I can block their Ring so it doesn't record when I walk by. Okay? Go ahead, Steve. It's on open source. It's written in Python. It's on Rob Braxman /catch MITM. Go to my Rob Braxman GitHub. So I haven't put things on Git. I'm like learning how to use GitHub. I've never used GitHub because I've always been in proprietary stuff. So yeah, but I open sourced it. So it's open source. So yeah, help out. This could be a fun app because it can get nice and aggressive. So I need to use. So right now I'm using promiscuous mode, and then I need to actually get into full Wi-Fi. What is the other mode? To do real full Wi-Fi scanning. It's very slick because it's just standard. It's simple stuff. Any hacker knows all this. It's nothing that a hacker doesn't know how to do. I mean, there's something that when you hack somebody at Starbucks. I'm just proving that I'm taking something as basic as hacking somebody at Starbucks and putting into an app. Okay? Crusty love. URL, Hackers Game, it's GitHub, Rob Braxman. No space. Rob Braxman. Find it on GitHub. Rob Braxman on GitHub. How hard is that? Do I need to put, www.github.com/Rob Braxman /catch MITM? It's open source. So if anybody wants to help me finish it. Help me finish it. It'll be fun. So I'm not going to make money from it. I'm doing a lot of stuff open source, and I'm not going to make money from any of this. And hopefully, people will appreciate the fact that I'm being upfront and honest, and I'm here to help you. And hopefully you support some of my other products like my VPN and my Brax Wi-Fi router. So you're making Ring doorbells blind to you. This has potential. Steve, that part I haven't completed yet. So right now you have to be on the network itself. So if you are visiting your relative and you log into the network, their network, then you can block. At the moment, it's really intended to block somebody in your own network, meaning somebody that you log into the network. I haven't done the piece where you do not have to log into the network. I haven't finished that yet. Okay, it requires a different driver, and I gotta go make sure that Linux has that driver to do that. And this is just standard Kali stuff. You can do it on Kali, command line. But I'm doing it on on an app, so you don't have to know anything. Simple. You don't have to do any command line. This is all app stuff. I can go block somebody on the network from the app just by touch. So it's awesome. That's why I'm excited with the Pinephone. I'm just gonna go tap on my Pinephone and say, you're Zuck. I gotcha. Hacker. So it's meant to catch hackers. So, but, you can use it in various ways. For example, you can go to the airport and hack somebody at the airport. What type of Wi-Fi scan were you talking about? Kismet? No. It doesn't need Kismet because it's already running a full Python library. It's already running a SCAPI. So it's full access already to. You don't need Kismet. It's already all built in. I did not use. Just wrote it myself. Hello from India, Gajanan. How are you doing? So yeah, it's when I get back to it, it could be a fun video. but it would be good to actually show it on an actual phone. But so, I'm just, if people don't believe I have the skills, if people don't believe I have the skills, then you look at the source code, say, this guy doesn't know anything. Okay. Write yourself. So, look at Brax.me. So if you say, this guy doesn't know how to write an app, okay, go look at that. I told you my background. I've done enterprise systems, huge ones. So huge enterprise systems being sold by big companies, and I made that. So yeah. So I've done all that. Polymorphic Android malware auto-configures to avoid detection when trying to get support from manufacturer. That's more hacking. I don't. I'm into spotting hackers, not hacking. So my stuff is actually stuff you can do in Cali. Again, it's knowledge that anyone knows if you understand the business. So, if anybody challenges that I know what I'm talking about, then you can see if I really do know, because you can check my work. So I don't have any. I don't have to apologize for my own skills. So I have the skill set. So when I make these videos, I can guarantee you that I fucking know what I'm talking about. Okay? Yes, my career has been all about no privacy at all, but now I'm retired. I know how important privacy is for all. Were you a Crime Stopper? Crime Stopper? Because if you're, if the problem is if you're a public entity, law enforcement, in public office, in a doctor, lawyer, these are the kinds of environments where you're forced to have a real identity, and so you have to split. You believe me, Steve? You've been getting pretty creative with my honeypots. I actually did a video a long time ago. I wrote an example of how I can hack you and drop a virus into your computer from a website. So I demonstrated it live, and then I have a video still on there. It's a browser. What is it? Browser threat test. Watch that video, and I wrote a little thing in there on browser fingerprinting. But there's an actual 0-day hack in there. How I can hack your identity. I can hack your identity, your name and address, and it's in there. It's a 0-day that no one knows about because I haven't said anything. I haven't. No one picked up on it, so I'm not going to say anything. But the 0-day means that if you go to my website and you think you are anonymous, I can hack that, and I can find out who you are, so you're not anonymous. So these are some of the tricks that I know, and that's why you have to build defenses against these, because my knowledge is based on actual knowledge of how to do it, because I know how to do it. I don't even spend. I am not I'm not a cracker. Okay, I don't copy viruses. Somebody said, if you build a virus, the antivirus is going to stop you. Zuck, no. I built one, and I was able to download to a computer from my website, and the antivirus that had not a peep from the antivirus, not a zucking peep. Okay, so if you know how the antivirus works, you know what their limitations are. Okay, I think that you should repost the 0 days so that gets patched. I don't care, pizza loving nerd. It was actually on, the attack can be duplicated on practically every browser. I duplicated on Firefox and Chrome, so I can duplicate on any browser. So, It's impossible to rescue your completely own Android phone, smart TV, tablet, and Google account, and home router and modem. You have to start somewhere. That's all I can tell you. If you've already been compromised, you got to start somewhere and start taking actions to disappear. You can't just ignore and say, well, they already hacked me, so I'm going to... Because they collect data and they get more knowledge, and more knowledge means more power against you. So you got to stop that. So every way you stop them is good. So I started to realize that if I didn't have this, even if with a VPN, the VPN gets turned off, even kill switches are not perfect. Phones don't have, when they're in sleep mode, the VPNs are not running. Did you know that? When you're running in sleep mode, that many VPNs don't run, so background tasks like email runs in the background. Email. So your email is running in the background because it's a system feature from iPhone. So, and it's not using the VPN, it's releasing your IP address. Crazy stuff. You don't know that. That's why, solve it by hardware. You actually stop the leakage because your hardware doesn't need to worry about controlling the VPN from the device. John Mac, I'll make a video about that. The Craigist. That is my video. That is my upcoming video. I was going to do it this week, but I'm going to push it off to next week. And yes, I am telling you right now, the Craigist, do not buy antivirus software. Yes. I'll explain later, but do not buy antivirus software. As a hacker, I'll tell you that it's pointless to buy, antivirus software. You need to solve the problem a different way. So if you have Windows, better get something to remove it. After something did complimentary out of warranty official wipe, new SIM instantly reinstalled away from home network. You're using all these smart TVs. Zucked up. But what if you pass your smart TV through a VPN? Did you know you can pass a smart TV through a VPN? Or how about wired? You don't have to make this wireless. You can actually turn this into a wired router. So there's a new mode here. You plug in a Ethernet adapter, and instead of Wi-Fi, you make it a wireless router, and you route your entire, network through there through a gigabit Ethernet adapter. So you can do that. A true antivirus will remove Windows. Hello from Germany. Horse spots. How are you doing? So anyway, guys, you may not get the sense of the videos that, my knowledge base is pretty wide, and my knowledge base, especially in cybersecurity, is up there. So the reason I'm into privacy is because I actually know what's going on, and it bugs me to know it. I was telling you about how your activity is being spied and sold, and everything I talk about is always proven in the press to be true. And I told you about, your Amazon Echo and your Siri and all that recording you, and everything I say is true. It's proven true, but people don't believe me, and the reason I know it's true is because if I were them, that's what I would do. I've learned to think like the bad guys, the Apples and the Google bad guys. I've learned how to, hello from Uganda. I learned MG Best is from Uganda. MGS Best is from Uganda. I didn't know that. Are you really from Uganda? All my neighbors' Wi-Fi network with Amazon Fire Stick is rebroadcasting remote exploit access back to my router after swapping out with provider. What? Sounds pretty complex. By the way, you have Clam AV and Rootkit Hunter. Dump all that. dump all that. So, why do you need a rootkit hunter if you follow the right procedures? I mean, come on, are you running Linux? So, they don't have root rights. If you're running Linux, you don't need to do that. I mean, the only thing that would bother me that I would need to worry about having rootkit hunters would be if somebody had physical access to my device, in which case I've this method, protect physically. If you're accessing my network and my computer, then I will know that you are, because this device will fire up an alarm if you approach my computer. I have multiple owned networks nearby. Clam AV is good if you have a virus and you boot off a Linux USB and fix your Windows install. Why are you using, if you're already booting off Linux, why are you using Windows? I don't get that. Hello from Peru. Joseph. Hola, Joseph. Hola. So, Peru, let's see. Who do I know from Peru? Can't remember at this moment. So, I was joking. My entire system is usually wrapped in Tor and using proxy chains. Are you running cubes or Unix or what? So I've solved the problem. I can't run, I've used Unix for years and I use it all the time. And the problem is that it's so difficult to use sometimes that you stop using it. So if I'm going to stop using it, it's bad. It's a bad thing. So that's why I shift to hardware. Yeah, I wasn't talking about you, Pizza. I'm just talking about the general comment about, the humor in what you're saying. The humor is that if you're going to do that, then why are you in Windows? I use Windows, so I'm not in Windows anymore. I'm 100% Linux, even a phone. So I'm. This is my situation right now. Linux phone. I'm broadcasting from a Linux laptop using OBS. My servers running Brax Me, in fact, everything I do, are all 100% Linux servers. All of my servers are Linux. Most of them are Debian. So I don't really know how to use Arch and all that. So most of my servers are Debian. Why? Because many years ago I started using it and I said, okay, now that I know how to use this, I don't need to learn anything new. So it works. So all of my servers are Debian. So I've been on several versions of Debian now. How to get back to 0, new SIM, new number, new device, new network, and a protection bag to block radio transmission anywhere near my infected neighborhood. Get a Linux phone, that's for sure. I miss stock Android, not sandbox, with only malicious fake data miner sites in my browser. Yeah, you have a lot of videos to watch. Watch many of my videos. There's a lot to learn there. But I'm pretty much safe, using a Linux phone. I really am very comfortable with this. Okay, now there's obviously you don't have access to certain apps, and that may bother some of you. But if anything, I just want it to work faster. I want a faster network and faster CPU. Other than that, I'm able to do what I need to do. I actually access YouTube on it, access my YouTube creator account, and check things, and it works. So anyway, okay, guys. So I've been keeping you here for way too long. I've gone over Need Out of Hell. Well, guys, there's 72 of you here watching right now, and please hit that like button. Goodness. Thumbs up, guys. Hit the thumbs up. A lot of you, hundreds of you watched probably so far, and I bet you that there's only a handful of thumbs up. So if you're gonna watch and enjoy, maybe you just forgot to hit the thumbs up. So that would be appreciated if you do, and if you're not a subscriber, then you'll learn a lot from me. I have a lot of knowledge. Some of you already know that I am not a poser that I actually know what I'm talking about and I can actually do it. So my tech skills are superior. I'm not embarrassed to tout it, because you can go to GitHub. If you're, I'm most of the code I posted on GitHub are PHP and Python, but I'm actually a C programmer. So I've been programming in C almost since the beginning of C. So so I'm a pretty advanced. Most of those enterprise systems that I wrote were all written in C, and that's a pretty big accomplishment, seeing that they're enterprise systems. So I wrote enterprise systems in C. You need detailed setup tutorials. Well, step by step. Maybe I have to make more videos for you. How do I call in? So if you want to talk to me, you don't call in. If you want to talk to me, you go to my app, Brax.me. Again, why should you go to this new app, Brax.me? Because it's open source. Okay, it's an open source app. You don't have to be afraid of it. It's an open source app. Come in. It has security, encryption, social media, secure file storage, photo storage, sharing, doing all that, and it's a safe environment. You have pseudo anonymity. It doesn't require your phone number. Doesn't require your email. You can verify your identity with TOTP or Authy or Google Authenticator, and use TOTP to validate your identity. And I don't need to know who you are. So the app does not require you to identify yourself, and that's why it's a special app. So Brax.me, please go to that. That is open source. I just released a video announcing that has now been open sourced with GPL v3. Yes, the antivirus software video coming next week. Where is the browser info hack? Where it's called Browser Threat Test. Johan, Browser Threat Test. That's the name of the video. Browser Threat Test. I can't imagine. That video should be the most popular, but people didn't know that about me then. That's an older video, and people didn't know about me. If you want to know, that's a check of what I can do, and to show you, I've done live hacks, email hacks, and web hacks, and so on live streams, and I don't have them on YouTube, but I did it before, and they're all stuff that I can easily do. So just would you be interested in doing more security hacking based videos? Seems like you have some pretty diverse experience. I do. That's my early videos were about that, but I wasn't getting the views. Okay, I wasn't getting the views, and that's why we have more likes than views. Well, actually, hundreds of you have been here, so hundreds have probably not given a like. So hundreds of you have been here since the broadcast started. So hopefully a lot more of you hit the like so that the algorithm likes us. Okay, the catchman in the middle in the store is very, very basic. The one that's in the Linux one that I'm building is much more advanced than that, Larry. The one in GitHub is very advanced. Okay, the catchman in the middle in the store on Android is more basic. So the one that I'm building for Linux is aggressive. I cannot sell that in any store. That will not be sellable. I cannot put that on iOS or Android. They will not accept that. You kind of demonetized yourself by going open source before YouTube did. Correct, Double J. That's why I need your support. So I do have Patreon. I have a Patreon account, Rob Braxman. I have all these products that I sell, and your support is helpful since for the community, I've given to you. So I did this to give to you without benefit. So I've lost benefit about some of this, and hoping that I will give a benefit to Linux users, especially by having a platform they can use on Linux devices that are coming up. So that's the timing. That's why the timing too. If I get people to recognize that this is open source and maybe I can release it on some of these Linux devices that are coming up, and maybe this new community might be more willing to try something different than Instagram, Zuckbook, and WhatsApp. For Android, or does that just allow remote rules for updates and downloads? I don't know what that means. Just looking at the App Store. Yeah, that's not the sophisticated version. Also, if you have Brax.me, if you have an account on Brax.me, it also has automatic check for man in the middle in there, so it's built in. Because Apple wouldn't approve the app, so I just inserted the feature into Brax Me on the main one. So please support. So appreciate your support, guys. I mean, I'm doing this without making any money, and I don't get I don't get much money from YouTube here, so I have to make these videos and hopefully survive with your help if you think you're benefiting from what I'm doing here. So I really do appreciate it. And again, if you want to support my Patreon account, is Rob Braxman on Patreon. I think it's on my community page here on YouTube, and you can always contact me on rob.brax.me. And I'd rather that you, instead of just donating, just buy a product. If you're gonna, if you think, well, I don't know if I need that. Well, if you're on the borderline, if you think it's a good cause, then you might want to support it anyway, because it's very little money for what benefit you get. So hope you appreciate that. Enterprise level administrator account for use on a personal device. The Play Store just let 36 malicious apps hosting this malware and other crazy. It is so easy to put in malware on iOS and Android. In fact, it doesn't even have to be malware. You can put a remote access Trojan legitimately, and they actually sell legit remote access Trojans. All you have to do is pay for it, and it's called a business feature. It's a business feature, so you can spy on your wife and your girlfriend and your kids using remote access Trojans that you can install legitimately, and you can turn it on anytime you want, do all of that crazy stuff. Need a Linux PC to properly use your router? No, it's plug and play. No, you plug it in, it's Wi-Fi. No, it doesn't. Any device works. This works with this. Doesn't matter what the device is. This works with this. The computer I'm using is currently using this. I'm broadcasting using this on a computer. It's Wi-Fi. It simplifies using a VPN because it's all done in hardware. So, man, I really get into have a Baofeng, but my area seems so quiet. Are you the one asking me that about Baofeng? I don't know. It's not quiet here. I'll tell you how to not be quiet. You get a you get one of those. Come on, guys! Somebody, some ham radio guy, get into the data link on the data link models. What do you call them again? The different networks you can put on a phone, and you can talk all over the world, and then you can talk to anybody. And if you happen to be in a quiet area, you can talk to them through the internet on that. So, and yeah, the world can talk, and then of course you can use HF radio. If you have a general license, you can use HF radio like mine here. So, hope I don't drop it. Yeah, I have an HF radio. Okay, I have a video on this. So this one is for talking to the other side of the world or thousands of miles away. So I have all that. So in an emergency, I'm these are all for emergencies, and in an emergency, I'm able to talk to the world, and I'm a little bit of a prepper myself here. Echolink, yes, Echolink. Echolink is very popular. They told Google, they said it would be patched in 90 days, and it's been almost 5 months. You're going to go. I'm going to go too. So obviously you need a VPN service and Onion browser. No, you don't need an Onion browser. How does that work for simple smart TV, YouTube? It doesn't. You don't need an Onion browser. You just log into the VPN. This is the Wi-Fi. So you connect your smart TV to this Wi-Fi. That's it. The only thing I wouldn't connect to this is your Xbox, because you probably want. Yes, I'm a ham radio guy. I have a general license. That's why I have an HF radio. HF radio doesn't work unless you have a general license. Okay. Goodbye, pizza loving nerd. Yes, Hacker Game. The reason I'm into ham radio is because there's no tracking. Thank you. Robert Axman was malicious. Has a general license for ham radio. Yes, I was trying to teach people how to get their technical license, technician license, so they can do 440 megahertz, which is very, very popular. So here in my area, 440 is very popular, and conversations are going on all day, every day, and it's very busy. And people are talking about their lives and whatever. Meet new people and stuff like that. IP cams, home security to check on dogs. Yeah. So yeah, I'm. I try to be broad in my life. I'm also a jazz musician. I'm a sailor. I'm big into sailing, so yacht racing actually. I'm did a lot of live streams, doing sailing. I don't do yacht racing anymore, but I'm too busy now to do yacht racing. But I've done yacht racing for a long time and got sufficient trophies to know that at least I know how to do it. So, doesn't ham require Morse code training? No, Mr. H, it doesn't require that anymore. And also you can install an app on your Pinephone that can auto-translate any Morse code here. So if you have a Pinephone, this is just awesome, okay? You have a Pinephone and you turn on and run the app, and you just put the microphone on near the radio and it will translate the Morse code right there. And you can do that on a Pinephone. Okay, yes, it's an SBC, Steve. Of course, it's a Raspberry Pi. But I would like to do this on a Pinephone. Okay, do you shoot? Yes, Cross 2. You mean like that? YouTube will probably block me now, but actually this is not real. I don't show real ones on a live broadcast, but it sure looks like a real one, doesn't it? Looks pretty real. So, yep, that's nuts. They removed Morse code. Okay, what am I miss here? Okay, so what else do you want to know? That makes you smile. Starlight doesn't make Starlight smile, or what? Yeah. So, SOS, Starlight. So, 1911 Classic Division. You are? Are you on the? Competing on a 1911? Strapped. Fake gun. Yes, it's a fake gun. No, you're getting monetized now. No, they heard me say fake gun. It's fake. It's airsoft. Here, we'll prove it. Airsoft. There, airsoft. There's the air. Okay, airsoft. So, but I mean, it looks like the real deal. So, except for intruders. Red flag raw. Airbrush that replica. It's metal. It's a steel replica. It's pretty real. Looks pretty real. It weighs like the real thing. Okay, if you practice shooting it with airsoft, it's pretty much like practicing the real thing. Okay, do you ever meet Pete Townsend from The Who in your sailing racing days? Why would I meet Pete Townsend? He's, isn't he in the UK? No way. Which one? Which one is the no way hackers game? Security-wise, any 5G benefits or just millions of new vulnerabilities? I don't want 5G. How about that? Security-wise, I'll skip the 5G. I'll use a phone that has no 5G. Fortunately, the Pinephone and the Librem 5 do not support 5G. So I think we're going to be okay there. So, yeah, skip 5G as long as you can. At some point, they'll say, no more option. You're going to be zucked. Okay? Yeah, well, he has money. He can do that, Starlight. So, real enough to get you shot by the police if they see it. Yes, that is correct. Should be easy to track amateur radio using large or space surveillance, and encryption is not allowed. That's correct, Johan, but because of the way that radio works and the short range, it is not easy to do mass data collections. It's not suited for mass data collection. You have to have active surveillance. Okay, so if you want to track somebody using ham radio, you have to have active surveillance. For average people, it doesn't do mass surveillance, which is really the issue. So, so I promote the use of ham radio because it does not subject you to mass surveillance. What did I tell you? Knowledge is power. So you deny them the knowledge, which denies them the power. Okay? So mass surveillance, mass data collection is what gives them the power. Individual little calls that you have to collect over millions of data collection points is not an easy thing to do, and it's not worth it. So they would only need to do that if somebody were actively tracking something specifically. They're not going to do it to just search for anyone who said any word in the history of mankind anywhere in the world using ham radio. You're not going to be able to do that. Will GNU radio work on the phone with SDR? Why do you even need any of that? It doesn't. That's a hardware question, though. If you're going to use a GNU, if you're going to use SDR, you probably need a computer. Yeah, or Raspberry Pi, because a Pinephone does not have a USB slot. So I don't know if their USB-C can be fed into a. It may be able to, but I don't know that for sure. Okay, so. Yes, Mark P. Knowledge equals power, but that's not the point. Knowledge is equal to power doesn't mean your knowledge equals your power. No. Knowledge equals power means deny them the knowledge and you deny them the power. If you deny government the knowledge, you deny them the power. If you deny Facebook, Google, all of this knowledge, you deny them the power. How fast is packet radio these days? Very slow. Kind of like the modems of the 90s. 9600 baud, 19.2 baud. So silent text used to trigger driver updates and OS updates be spoofed by malicious Wi-Fi. That's in my video already. Backdoor to your phone. That's in my video. 2 videos. Watch that. The George. watch my 2 videos called, you have a lot of homework here. There's 2 videos, backdoor to your phones, and then there's a video browser threat test. Watch those. Those are important. If it supports OTG, it will work providing you have the drivers. I don't know if a Pinephone supports OTG. I don't know if they have the driver to support OTG. Okay? That is not a known thing right now. I haven't heard them mention it. Okay? I haven't heard them mention it. But you don't need to do that. You have the SD card. You can burn it into the card. You don't need OTG. You take the SD card out. You boot it from the SD card. Okay? You have full power. You don't need root access. You have root access to the SD card on a Pinephone. Pinephone is awesome. The kind of things you can do with that. I may have to make another video to show this, because I don't think people realize that they need to make easily 1 million Pinephones. They should be making 1 million Pinephones, not 50 zucking thousand. 1 million. There's so much you can do with that Pinephone. So much. So you know that the Librem 5 will do SDR. Well, if the Librem 5 supports it, then there must be a driver that a Pinephone can use. Yeah. Well, you just answered the question, because I didn't know. If the Librem 5 supports it, then there's a driver, Linux driver, that can be used for USB by the Pinephone. So, yeah. Saw those videos. Why I'm here now, not for this content, but for your brilliant videos that got my attention. Sorry that you don't like this content. Sorry about that, George. I hope you like this content as well. Search for and watch Web Browser Privacy Threat Test 2019. Oh, is that what I call it? Web Browser Privacy Threat Test? Okay. I forgot what I call it. Okay. Okay, so thank you for watching, guys. Now, I want to just make an announcement. I usually do 2 live streams a week. But during the holidays, I'm suspending all that. I'm only doing 1 live stream a week, and that's on Friday nights. And no other live streams. Will just be videos. But I did 2 videos this week. And so, given that it's the Christmas holidays, I don't know how many videos I can make. I'm going to try to make 2 if I can. So please support this channel with these products. And if you feel like you don't need to, you may want to support us on Patreon. Patron is Rob Braxman. Okay? So thank you for watching Brax Phone in the near future. Pinephone. Why do I need a Brax phone? Verizon does not support secure flip servers, only HD voice. Thanks for the stream and the video. Thank you, Mark R. Any more questions before I go? I'm talking nonstop here for more than a couple hours, couple and a half hours. Okay, so I will see you on a live stream next Friday. Yeah, so let me see. Will I do a live stream next Friday? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'll probably do a live stream next Friday. So it's hard during the holiday season to do the weekends, but yeah, next. So I'll try. If I don't do a live stream, I'm gonna replace it with a video. Okay, so hopefully that'll work. Thank you, my friends, and I'll see you in a video first, and then next Friday on a live stream. Good night.